Happy Veterans Day to all my veterans, if there's any on the call. I want to say thank you to you, Christina and Jacob. This morning, I made the ever so bold decision to not turn on the hot water in the shower, and that sucked. So
Did you yourself a little cold exposure session this morning, is what you're saying?
I'm working on it. I'm working on it because Jacob tells me he gets in the cold plunge every morning at 4:30. I know that you get in yours every day or almost every day. And so I figured, my pool's got a cover on it, so the pool is actually pretty cold, like pretty warm still. So I was gonna go jump in there, so I'm gonna take the cover off the pool so it cools off. But this morning it was like 47 degrees outside, and I left the window to my bathroom open, so my bathroom was like 20 degrees colder than the rest of the bedroom. I was like, you know what? Maybe the pipes are not as warm, because last time I tried doing a cold shower, back when we talked about it a couple months ago, it was still warm. It didn't feel cold at all. However, this morning I felt what Jacob was explaining to me is pulling all the blood back to my core. My breath was challenged. I had a little mini freak out moment. I was like, oh, this must be working. When I got out of the shower after I regained consciousness, I felt like I could fight bears.
And now you're going to have a fantastic day.
That's right.
I don't know a day I didn't have a fantastic day, to be honest. So I mean, this is just going to be supercharged. This is like pouring cocaine on a rainbow.
Oh God.
It's going to be a whole lot of awesome. It might be a little bit of colorful. So I wanted to share that with you guys today. One of the things that really pushed me to do so is I saw a video clip, TikTok, Instagram, I don't know where it was at, where there was, I've seen him a bunch. He's a doctor. He does a lot of speeches on stage. He talks about how the body burns down fat. I'll find out his name. But he goes, on average, 95% of people, men and women, above the age of 30 will never sprint again. He goes, we are in the aggressive hunt of comfort. And here I am sitting in a house, air conditioned, on a couch, on my cell phone, not fighting bears. And I'm like, I have just fallen into this discomfort. So I immediately put my phone down and did some push-ups, which my son followed along with, which was pretty cute. But that was one of those things. I know we're jumping ahead of our wins today, but just kind of it steamrolled into this conversation is how many of us are in the aggressive, this hunt of comfort and are forgetting to do the things that we need to do to survive, especially in a developed country like us, not a third world country, as we have everything we need provided to us. We've gotten lazy. We don't have to run after our prey. We don't have to hunt and stalk and kill our cheeseburgers. Last I checked, they're pretty much brought to you. But when we're in this mode of like coasting and doing the same thing every day, we've created a habit. And I believe a lot of our habits start to be rounded. They're no longer rigid. They're rounded. They become more comfortable. We hit the snooze button. We stay in bed a little bit longer. We get that, that scoop of ice cream because, it's only one scoop, but it's one scoop per night, 6 days a week. Like it adds up, but it's instead of being super rigid with ourselves and our discipline, we become rounded because it's comfortable. And in that, physically, we become rounded. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. But when we look at that, we get rounded, we get fat, we get lazy. It adds more and more difficulty to our abilities. Like we can't move as much, we can't run as fast. And like I said, 95% of people over the age of 30 are never going to sprint again because our muscles break down, our joints break down. We add the extra 20, 30, 40, 80 pounds in my case, where moving just isn't as easy. So we don't do it as often. And then the problem gets harder and harder to come back from. Now, let's take that same premise and translate it into the real estate business. 90% of real estate agents that have been in this business for 3 years or less will not make it. Is that because we don't have rigid definition of what we need to do every day? Have we rounded our expectations? Have we started to do things that were comfortable? I guarantee you have. Otherwise, we wouldn't have to talk about goals. We wouldn't have to talk about working harder. We would spend 30 minutes every day cataloging all of the wins. I took down this buyer, this seller, this listing, this investor, I bought this house. We would be doing everything we want to do. And because we've gotten soft, we've rounded our edges, we've gotten away from the discipline of doing the routines that we need to do every day religiously. Even if it sucks, you got to do it. Because that 2 minutes that I was under the cold water, and it was probably still 55, 60 degrees, so it wasn't cold by much measure. Those 2 minutes really sucked. And I could tell you how bad I wanted to step out of the water. And I did. And then I stepped right back in because I realized, oh, I didn't get my head. I got to actually wash my head. I got back into the suck. My military friends, and this is a term I'm sure every military person out there knows, is embrace the suck. Am I wrong? You got to do it. Might as well just do it knowingly. Don't let the shitstorm hit you in the face. Run through it. Keller Williams adopted the mindset of the buffalo, right? Charge the storm. I got to find out what Steve shared. It was a little video that talked about it, but here's the essence of it. Cows and buffalo are similar, right? Just like successful people and not successful people. They're similar. They have effectively the same physiology: 4 legs, a head, a tail, a big belly. But the difference is when there's a storm that comes over the horizon, cows turn and run with the storm, trying to outrun the storm. Sometimes they don't even run at all. They just tuck their head down and bear it out. Like, I'm going to get messed up. Might as well just die right here. But they can never outrun the storm, and they're always in the fight. The storm stays up with them. They get beat on. They get killed. They get rolled over in thunder and lightning. Not the buffalo. The buffalo sees a storm coming and they turn and head to it. They start charging directly at the issue. They're not rounded. They're not looking for comfort. They know that the next 36 hours are going to suck. I might as well run through it. I might as well get to the other side as fast as possible, regardless of what hill I have to climb, what lightning bolt I need to dodge, or what hailstorm is ahead of me. You run through the storm, not trying to run from it. You head things off. You go at it face on. Do you know successful people? Do you think that they charge at problems? Jocko Willink did a really good podcast where he talks about the word good. You know, if it's anyone ever heard this before, he's got one of his soldiers saying, you know what, every time I come to you with a problem, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, good. You didn't get that promotion? Good. You didn't get the funding? Good. You didn't get that sale? Good. There's always an upside. You didn't get the funding? Good. It gets you the ability to tighten up your job and performance so that you can go back and get more. You didn't get that client? Good. Sharpen your skill set. Know where you failed and don't let it happen again. Charge the storm head on. Do the things that are uncomfortable. Be rigid in that. If you expect yourself to sell houses, then I expect that you will have a rigid routine. From 9 to 11, you lead generate. You don't stop at 10:55. You don't start at 9:07. You close your door at 9 o'clock and you say, world, I'll see you in 2 hours. I'm in here finding business. But we've rounded ourselves. Those sharp edges are tough. It's hard to say no to your little kid when they want to go outside. It's hard to say no to snack time. It's hard to say no to the things that are easy. But I'll tell you, my friends, success is simple, not easy. Do the things that you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do them, and you will find the success that you are looking for. It is a recipe, not a goose hunt. We know where it's at. You just got to go after it. So take a deep look at yourself and in your schedules this weekend, especially because it's Veterans Day and a lot of people are off today. Not you, beautiful folks. And if you were supposed to call that person yesterday and you didn't, well, you need to shore up the hatch and get yourself a little bit more rigid. Box yourself out and say, I'm going to do it until it's done. Do the tough. Enjoy the suck. Because after all, being broke, is it tough? So is being rich. Choose your tough. I'd much rather have money problems of I have to pay tax on it versus I don't have it. There are problems on both sides of the world. Choose your problems. And trust me, the more you work towards something, the faster it's going to get there. So turn towards the storm and charge head on. And the beautiful thing is if when one buffalo runs, guess what? They all do. So this morning, I jumped in the shower. I'm going to call it frigid ice cold because I'm going to make it feel better for myself. An ice cold shower. It was 31. It was 34 degrees. It was a tiny cold shower. That's not reality. But I started the charge. This Friday, I started the charge for you. Follow in my footsteps. Do something that was tough. That's all I got for you today. Simple, quick. There's a storm here. It's not coming. It's here. Your seasonal slowdown is here. Things are going to get tough. Are you going to be a cow? Are you going to be a buffalo? Charge the storm. Cold showers for the win. High five.